In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said,
"Let there be light."
That stuff is flat. How you doing, guys? I'm the Bearded Devil. Welcome to my channel. Alright, so this is a response to Flatzoid's video that was a response to my video. So we have a little bit of a response inception again. It's a common thing when dealing with Flatzoid.
Now in Flatzoid's video, he was apparently confused when I said magical angle. I think a lot of flat earthers get confused when I use hyperbole because it doesn't register in their minds. When I'm referring to a magical angle, I'm referring to such as Flatzoid's, was it his limited angle? Was it Riley's and, what's that fucking nigga's name? Nathan Oakley, talking about the critical angle and all that kind of shit. As if one angle is different than the other, or special, as it were, okay? Within the 360 degrees, you know, as far as the possibility of all those angles. But, nonetheless, I decided to give this another go, alright? We're going to see if we can achieve that magical angle, that critical angle, the supposed limited angle, followed with, I want to see if I can catch optical drop, okay? That seems to be one of those things. And also, I wanted to show how, now, okay, Flatzoid makes this claim about angles occulting things. Just the angle, not anything else, just the angle, which is, in his brain, just the distance between point A and point B, so long as that distance somehow, magically, there's a hyperbole again, causes some kind of occultation, which is basically causing things to block, you know, things like making the floor block the things that it's actually on. Which, if you think about it on a flat surface, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But that's his claim. That just the sheer distance between point A and point B, so long as point B is downrange a bit, then that space in between somehow does a strange thing. That is how you can tell he is a two-dimensional thinker. Okay? Let me go ahead and change where the... Now, as you can see, I've placed it where it's roughly, where the crosshairs are kind of right there on the bullseye. It's a little off. You know, not perfect. I realize that. So, ideally, right, if we follow all of the things that they say, then this should work. 100%. I'm even going to add some temperature changes so that we have some atmospheric distortion, or at least maybe some distortions. I don't know. But at least change randomly the temperature in and around the surface, just for the hell of it. Okay? See what that does. Alright? So let me go ahead and change the focus. There we go. Now, I want to move this over a little bit. See? Not perfect, not perfect. Alright. Make sure we're still aligned, because I wouldn't want to be... Yeah, more or less still spot on. Alright, cool beans. Okay. So we're going to use the canned air, which is a liquefied compressed gas. And I have another liquefied compressed gas where I'm going to have fire. Okay, so we're going to randomly do this. Alright, so we fuck with the atmosphere a little bit. Maybe this will work after doing all that, right? Let's find out, shall we? Okay, stare at the car right there. Now, ideally,
what's going to happen is, not only will the, right here at the back end, it should, theoretically, go below eye level, right, because of the distance, well, the angle created by the distance, right, from here to the other end, right, and we should have bottom-up obstruction simply due to the fact that, again, that critical angle. Well, okay, with Riley, it's going to be the critical angle, which means the wheels are going to get so small visually that they'll disappear on their own. And according to Flatzoid, it'll be the limited angle, which of course is I don't know how that's different, but it's just the distance between here at the start and over there at the finish. That distance, that angle created by that distance, it's gonna well cause it to not only drop, but that the surface is going to occult the object sitting on it, basically the car. So let's find out how all that's going to play out.
Okay, alright. Also, I have perspective going on because I can't turn that off, right? I can't turn perspective off, alright? So what's going to happen is that I guess the wheels are going to ramp up, okay? They're going to go up, even though they're not really going up. Again, there's when someone says it's ramping up, that's how you know you're talking to a two-dimensional thinker, because they're viewing it in terms of a picture plane, that goes into a different thing altogether. But perspective is like on drawing paper, right? Drawing paper is two-dimensional, and when you're drawing in perspective, right, you're recreating the depth of a three-dimensional space on a two-dimensional surface. All right. Now here we are in 3D world, so let's
see what happens. All right. So apparently my finger was a real big thing with Flatzoid. Now, obviously, as I'm going further, the car itself is getting smaller. This is, of course, as I've stated many times, angular size change over distance. It gets smaller. If I go backwards, it gets bigger. Okay, right? Bigger, smaller, but not in reality. Okay, the angles are changing, right? I'm going from here, which is a larger angle, right? Or at least it takes up a larger portion of the field of view. The angles are, it takes up more of those angles, if you really want to think of it that way. Further away I go, it's taking up less of those angles, right? So it's just going from it does this, right? It does this, okay? All it is just angles. I have a picture, an image of how that works on Discord. I may be able to pull it up. If not, we'll get there eventually.
Okay, this is what he brought up, showing angles do compress into the distance, making our point once again, Bearded. Thank you very much.
I'll link it in the description if need be, or pin it to a post. Alright, so we're going to go further, right? And yeah, it gets smaller because of perspective, because the distance between point A and point B has increased, right? Angular size change over distance. Not complicated. Now I have no idea at this point if we're having any of the other wonderful effects, you know, like the optical drop and the, what you call it, the critical angle and the limited angle and the occultation angle, whatever the hell that's supposed to be. We're going to go all the way to the end. Now, alright, what should have happened, and it may have happened, I'll have to check later on, is that the bottom began to disappear first. The wheels somehow became so unresolvable that you can no longer see them. Right? So if we, let's see if we can zoom in real quick. I'm going to go back to that. Yeah, see, look, yep, can't see the wheels, right? They must have somehow, that critical angle must have caused them to just poof, become unresolvable. And this is kind of one of those things that Flatzoid
likes to claim. Lunenburg does it too. That objects have this tendency to smush at the convergence point. Now, as you can see with this, obviously the convergence point here is still roughly straightforward, right? So it didn't happen the way they describe it. It went below eye level. That'd be optical drop, right? I mean, that is supposed to be what happens. When you're looking straight ahead, for some strange reason, items in the background go below the eye level because of optical drop. And according to like Riley and others in his little group, it's just the critical angle. And as far as Flatzoid's concerned,
the angle, what is it? The angle that's created here to here, this space here, right? Somehow or another just the angle created by the distance from start point to the end point, occulted the bottom of the wheel, or bottom of the wheels. The wheels are gone, right? You can't see them. Okay. And, I mean, if I bring it back to the beginning, you know. Oh. Now I have, of course, jiggled the camera a little bit or jostled it a smidge while I was doing that, but nonetheless, you know, there it is, right? I mean, even, you know, a little small distance, right? Oh, small distance makes such a big deal. Anyway, the board itself is about 11 and a half feet, give or take, probably closer to 12. And so it's a couple of feet longer than the railing at the shop that I used. So maybe that was the thing. I had to lower my camera to just the right spot to find these magical angles, you know, that flat earthers seem to think exist. Maybe that was it. Oh, and probably fucking around with the atmosphere probably really did it. Okay? So I included a lot of the things that flat earthers claim happens. Right? Anyway, as far as perspective is concerned, no. In perspective, this should not happen. Right? I've demonstrated that several times well, okay, if it's true, then it should happen all the time, right? Just like the critical angle thing, it doesn't matter how big or how small, or even how the distance shouldn't even matter in this, right? You can't say that if I go miles and miles and miles, this is supposed to really happen, because it would happen all the time, everywhere, at any scale, given that you locate these critical angles, these somehow perfect places to get all this to happen. I don't know. I mean, you see it. But here's the thing, flat earthers. Can you explain, really? Have I explained it any differently than you do? Right? Did I not demonstrate virtually everything that you guys, well, not everything, but as far as this stuff is concerned, haven't I demonstrated all of that? I don't know. We'll see what reaction we get from this particular reaction. Alright. I've been the Bitter Devil. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, champ, for detailing everything we said would happen. I don't know what you're trying to debunk here, but let's go and analyze the photos. I'm sure everybody actually already knows what's going on here, as the rest of us actually live in three-dimensional space and not some 2D construct that does not even, well, exist in reality. It would be great if someone would be able to present anything actually being 2D, because you cannot get anything two-dimensional in reality. Even a piece of paper is three-dimensional, by the way. Okay, let's start with the first overlaid image. I took just the closest part and where he went to the middle, and what do you know? Is his elevation of those wheels changed? Yes. According to perspective, it does rise relative to eye level. Now, the problem you also have here, Mr. Bearded, is you forget that perspective can only work in 3 dimensions, not 2 dimensions, as it takes width, distance, and elevation into account. That's why it's got a convergence point. Everything goes to that single point. Okay, so you see that little yellow line, the closest? That would be from when it was taking up most of the field of view. The wheels are quite large. The car is quite large. Moving it away, because it's getting smaller in angular size and converging to the convergence point, aka the level, it has risen with the ground. Not actually, just optical. Okay? Just please keep that in mind while we move on to the next picture quickly. Okay, in the previous picture I showed you how it was rising relative to eye level. Now I'm showing you how it's sinking relative to eye level. You see the convergence? The top line is the much larger field of view taken from the car. Then it gets smaller in the distance and it seems to be sinking. Now you're seeing as something changes in its angular size, it's not just how you would see it as what you call two-dimensional. It actually has a width to it. It is elevation dependent and it is distance dependent. The whole thing itself gets smaller. Now the problem you seem to have is you forget that surface it's on would have a larger angle closer to the observer than the furthest part of it, because that floor is also going and changing angular size with distance. That's why it gives the appearance of rising to eye level. Okay? Just perspective alone debunks your globe, because you guys need things to go downwards, not bulge upwards. So I will post a question to you that SE Montreal likes asking. Shout out SE. Is your curve a hump or a drop? Maybe sit back and think of that for a while. Is your earth curve hump or drop? And is it still physical? Or is it just optical, as it's been demonstrated throughout all Bearded Devil's demonstrations? Well, I don't think I need to be more clear on what he's showing. This picture demonstrates it rising relative to eye level, and it's demonstrated sinking downwards. So optical drop confirmed, limited angle due to him reaching the slope on this one. If it was on an actual level horizontal surface with no slope, the distance would just have to be pushed out much further for the effect to take part into effect. So thank you everybody for watching. I'm glad you guys are enjoying the ramblings of a glober. Thank you. God bless and enjoy living on the stationary horizontal plane.